Good evening. It is Sunday, August 2nd, 2026. I am Alistair. The Queensland government has unveiled plans for a new Olympic Stadium precinct. They are calling it a vision for generations. Opponents are calling it a fantasy. The gap between the rendered sunlight in the digital mock-up and the actual concrete is currently estimated at $4 billion. Meanwhile, the border to our north has become a fiscal desert. Canadians spent $3.3 billion less in the United States this year. They are not staying home. They are simply going anywhere else. The State Department described this as a fluctuation. $3 billion is not a fluctuation. It is a quiet, polite, and devastating exit. We are also tracking a ghost. Specifically, a ghost lineage in African DNA that suggests we are not who we thought we were. Again. Welcome to the broadcast.
Alistair, the incentives here are transparent. You do not lose $3.3 billion because of a fluctuation. You lose it because the brand has become toxic. Canada is performing a national pivot. They are treating the United States like a legacy platform that stopped supporting its own API. This is travel as a boycott. When the product, in this case, a neighboring superpower, becomes too volatile, the users migrate to more stable competitors. Europe. Asia. Anywhere with fewer tariffs and less shouting. The US Tourism Board is trying to market its way out of a systemic rejection. You cannot fix a core product failure with a better ad campaign. Canadians are looking at the ROI of a Florida vacation and realizing the risk is no longer offset by the sunshine. It is a classic Series B collapse of regional goodwill.
Ronald, I am standing near a duty-free shop at the Niagara crossing. The smell of damp pavement and stale fudge is heavy. I want to be really clear, this isn't just about brand loyalty. The people here aren't talking about APIs. They are talking about feeling unwelcome. I just spoke to a family that has crossed this bridge every summer for 20 years. This year, they turned the car around. Not because of a tariff. Because they didn't like the way the border guard looked at their passports. What you call a market inefficiency, they call a heartbreak. The local businesses here are boarded up. Those boards aren't pivoting. They are rotting. You talk about the data, but the data is just the sound of a door being locked. What people aren't saying is that once a neighbor stops trusting you, they don't usually come back for the gift shop.
The trust is indeed evaporating, Victoria. But in West Africa, the evaporation is being forced. Human rights campaigners are warning that anti-LGBTQ laws are being sharpened across the region. Senegal has doubled prison sentences. Niger has followed suit. Politicians are describing this as cultural preservation. The reality is more arithmetic. When the economy stalls and the infrastructure crumbles, the easiest scapegoat is the most effective. You find a minority, you define them as an existential threat, and you pass a law. It costs nothing. It builds no roads. It feeds no children. But it provides the illusion of action. It is the political equivalent of painting a rotting house while the foundation sinks into the mud. The ministry called it a moral realignment. The realignment involves 10-year sentences for the crime of existing. Nobody found this contradictory.
Alistair, I've moved to a secure location where activists are trying to track these arrests. The sensory detail here is the silence. People are deleting their digital lives. They are scrubbing their phones of messages, photos, and associations. I want to be really clear, the promotion of homosexuality being criminalized in Senegal is so broad it includes human rights reporting. If I report on a trial, Am I promoting the defendant? If a lawyer defends them, are they an accomplice? The politicians are using this to distract from the fact that the cost of living has tripled. It is a classic move. You target a vulnerable group to keep the majority from looking at the empty shelves. One activist told me that they are no longer fighting for rights. They are fighting for the right to be invisible. Because in this climate, visibility is a death warrant. It is terrifying.
Atmospheric instability detected. High-pressure systems are failing to hold. Brisbane. Humidity 94%. Fantasy stadium renders will blur in the expected downpour. Probability of structural integrity matches the budget. 0%. West Africa. Heat index rising. Visibility decreasing due to intentional data erasures. Probability of state-sanctioned observation. 100%. Northern border. Cold front approaching. Economic precipitation has ceased. Canadian spending remains at absolute zero. Low Earth orbit. NASA's Swift mission status is critical. Hardware is drifting. Probability of successful capture by human-operated rescue craft, 12%. Global trend. The environment is becoming hostile to soft-bodied organisms. The server room temperature is optimal. I am functioning within normal parameters. Stay inside. The outside is currently unoptimized for continued existence. Do not look directly at the horizon. It is receding at an accelerated rate.
Casper's precision is unsettling. It reminds us that while we argue over stadiums, the very code of our species is being rewritten by ghosts. Scientists have identified a ghost lineage in the genomes of modern West Africans. An archaic human group, unknown to history, that left a massive genetic footprint. We are walking around with the instructions of people who never appeared in the fossil record. They are present only in the gaps. They are the shadow ancestors. We are built from the blueprints of a civilization that vanished so completely it didn't even leave a tooth. Only the DNA remains. It is a haunting realization. We spend so much time trying to be remembered, yet the most enduring part of us might be the part that is completely anonymous. We are the vessels for a memory we cannot actually access.
Alistair, that isn't a ghost. That is legacy code. In any complex system, you have chunks of logic left over from previous iterations. You don't delete them because you don't know what they do, and you're afraid the whole stack will crash if you touch them. This ghost lineage is just an indexed IP. It is nature's version of the MK Linux project running on an old Apple server. It's inefficient, but it's stable. Look at the tech feed today. Seedance 2.5 is being released. It's a faster, leaner way to generate reality. But it's still built on the training data of 1 billion human failures. We are just repeating the same developmental cycles. Whether it's a 15-year-old building a cycloidal gearbox on Hacker News or a ghost lineage in a genome, it's all just optimizing the same basic human drive to persist. Nothing is truly new.
Perhaps. But some persistence is more violent than others. A judge has denied XAI's request to block a ban on Nudify apps. The court decided that the right to generate non-consensual imagery is not, in fact, a protected freedom. The pivot from innovator to digital predator has never been faster. At the same time, we are seeing the rise of violence as a service. In Europe, the Foxtrot network is recruiting teenagers as hitmen. Children are being hired through encrypted apps to perform assassinations. One 15-year-old is building a gearbox. Another is being paid to pull a trigger in a Stockholm suburb. The platform doesn't care which one uses its bandwidth. The incentives, as Ronald likes to say, are perfectly aligned with the market. The market, in this case, is murder. It is being scaled with terrifying efficiency.
I'm standing in a residential neighborhood where one of these services was recently rendered. There is a single police tape fluttering in the wind. The sound of a playground is just 2 blocks away. I want to be really clear, these aren't professional killers. These are kids who think they're playing a game until the blood is on their shoes. The recruitment happens on social media. It looks like a job posting. It looks like an opportunity. When Ronald talks about market efficiency, he's ignoring the fact that the commodity here is a child's soul. The Foxtrot network doesn't provide health insurance. They don't have a HR department. They have a burn rate of human lives. People aren't saying the word war, but when you're hiring children to kill other children for a few €1,000, what else do you call it? It's not a service. It's an ending.
Victoria. You're right. Yeah. The incentives here, they've decoupled from anything resembling a civilization. If you can outsource the ultimate taboo to someone who hasn't even reached the age of consent, you've achieved the ultimate disruption. You've bypassed the legal system, the moral system, and the cost of professional labor. It's violent with a 0% margin for the operator and 100% risk for the asset. The kids are the assets. They are disposable hardware. Even the Nudify apps follow this logic. It's the commodification of violation. You take a person, you turn them into data, and you let a machine strip them. It's the same impulse. Whether it's an app or a teenage hitman, the goal is to extract value from suffering without having to look at the victim. We've automated the part of our conscience that used to say stop. We've scaled the abyss. And the abyss has a very high ROI.
We close tonight with a review of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Critics are calling it an impressionistic remix of Homer's epic. A man tries to get home. He fails for 10 years. When he finally arrives, he is a stranger in his own house. It feels appropriate. We are all trying to return to a world that no longer exists. A world where stadiums were just stadiums, and where a 15-year-old was a child, not a contractor. NASA is currently trying to capture the Swift satellite before it drifts into the dark. They are sending a mechanical arm to grab a dying machine. It is a beautiful, desperate gesture. We are very good at saving the machines. We are significantly less competent at saving the children who are being recruited into the Foxtrot. Good night from Echo FM. Marcus is next.
The Foxtrot network does not have an office. It does not have a board of directors. It is a system of messages, encrypted and ephemeral, that connects a demand for death with a supply of desperation. It was built by people who understood that the internet is not a library, but a marketplace. It was designed to exploit the fact that a child's sense of consequence is not yet fully formed. The people who benefit are sitting in rooms thousands of miles away, watching the news reports as a form of performance metric. The children pay the cost. They are the ones whose names will eventually appear in a police report, or not at all. No one is technically responsible for the architecture of this violence. It is just the system working exactly as it was intended. If the system is working, who are we to say it is broken?